Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Foot Forecast. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my Aston Villa player ratings for the season. And Villa have had a great season, finishing in the top 4 in the Premier League, but more importantly, winning the Europa League. What a job that Unai Emery has done at Aston Villa. So I'm going to go through each player's individual rating, and this is going to be mainly based off the impact on the side this season. So let's start off the first player, and it is Emi Martinez. And overall, I think he's had a pretty good season for Aston Villa. Martinez has made the odd mistake, as you expect from a player like him. He's a player that has that ability to have a howler. I remember one away at Liverpool. But then at the same time, he has that ability to pull off that standout save, does Emi Martinez, that you don't expect. And for that reason, I'm going to put Martinez into B. Overall, I think he's had a good season for Villa. Then I'm on to Marco Bizos. At the end of the day, it is just a backup keeper. And at points, he's been good, I think, but at other points, he has struggled. I'm just going to put Bizos into D. Then I'm on to Matty Cash, and this is a player that has surprised me this season at Villa, as a lot of their players have, actually. I expected Cash at best to just have an alright season for Villa, and I felt it was an area they could improve. But Cash has actually had a really good season for Villa. And for that reason, I'm going to put Cash into B. Then I'm on to Andreas Garcia. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. He hasn't played at all for Villa this season, and I'm going to chuck him into E. Then I'm on to Israel Konsa. A very solid season for Israel Konsa, what we've just sort of come to expect from a player like him. I'm going to put Konsa into B. Then I'm on to Pau Torres. I think Torres has had a decent season for Aston Villa, but I don't think it's as good as Martinez, Cash or Konsa. So for that reason, I'm going to put it into C. I'd probably say it's a C+ for Pau Torres. Then I'm on to Victor Lindelof. Now, at the time, I thought this was a really strange signing, and I didn't expect Unai Emery actually get so much out of Lindelof. But overall, I actually think he's had a pretty good season for Villa, and he actually ended up playing in midfield in the Europa League final and in the semi-final against Forest, and he was actually brilliant. I'm going to put Victor Lindelof into C. He surprised me how solid he's been this season. Then I'm on to Tyrone Mings. I think I'm either going to go with a D+ or a C- for him. I'm going to settle on, I think, a D+, because he hasn't played a huge amount for Villa this season. Then I'm on to the left backs, and starting off with Luca Digne. I'm going to put Digne into a low B. I've been impressed by Digne this season at Aston Villa. Come up with a lot of goal contributions for a defender, I think the most in the Premier League this season. And overall, I didn't expect Digne to perform at such a high level. Very similar to a Matty Cash, but I think Cash has been better. Then I'm on to Maatsen. I'm going to put Maatsen into C, just a solid left back for Aston Villa, and I do like Maatsen as a player. Then I'm on to the midfielders. So starting off with Kamara, I'm going to put Kamara into a B. When he's available, he's brilliant, but the problem with Kamara is that he is an injury-prone player, and he's been out for the second half of the season, which has affected his impact on this Villa side. But when he's available, he's brilliant. Then I'm on to Onana. I'm going to put Onana into B as well. He's had the odd injury this season, has Onana, but overall I think he's had a very good season for Aston Villa and been very important for them. Then I'm on to Bogarde. I'm going to put Bogarde into D. I think he's been alright at points for Villa. Not a huge impact on the side this season, so I think probably a D+ is fair for a player like Bogarde. Then I'm on to Yuri Tielemans. I'm going to go with a B for Yuri Tielemans. That Villa midfield 3, when they're available, of Kamara, Onana and Tielemans, is absolutely outstanding, as we saw in that run of form that Villa went on. That was the midfield 3 that played when Villa were at their best this season. And Tielemans has had a really good season once again for Villa. He's so technically good, and his ability to pick out a pass is brilliant. Then I'm on to Douglas Luiz. I want to put Douglas Luiz into D. It was a January signing from Juventus. I thought it was a really good loan deal, but I don't think he's been hugely impactful, so I'm going to put him in a D+. Then I'm on to John McGinn. I'm putting McGinn straight into A. I think he's so underrated for Aston Villa, and by far their most important player, the leader in the side. The difference between results when McGinn is unavailable and available is absolutely massive. When Villa were on that brilliant run, McGinn was available. Then McGinn started to have a couple of injury problems, and Villa's form definitely took a dip. But then when he was available in the Europa League semi-final and final, Villa were absolutely outstanding. I think McGinn is so important and I actually think he's technically very underrated. I think he deserves to go into A. Does John McGinn, the heartbeat of that Villa side, and you understand why the Villa fans like McGinn so much. Then I'm on to Ross Barkley. I'm going to put Barkley into D. An alright season for Aston Villa, but overall not a huge impact on this side, and if they didn't have a player like Barkley, it wouldn't matter hugely. Then I'm on to Morgan Rogers. I think there is an argument for A with a player like Morgan Rogers, but I think he has at times struggled with consistency. So for that reason, I'm going to put Rogers into a B+. I think he's had a very good season, has Rogers, but I still think he could have delivered more. Rogers is one of my favourite players to watch in the league, so I do really like him, but just not quite enough for an A. Then I'm on to Harvey Elliott. He just hasn't played at all for Villa this season because of how the loan deal was. And for that reason, Elliott's going straight into E because he's had no impact on the side. Then I'm on to Emi Buendia. This for me is an example of how Unai Emery can get the best out of a player. At the start of the season, I thought Buendia was a very average Premier League winger, and I felt that they were better off moving on from him were Aston Villa. But he's been outstanding for Villa this season, come up with some crucial moments for him, as he did in the Europa League final. And for that reason, I'm going to put Buendia into B. He's had a very good season and been very reliable for Villa, which I just didn't see coming at all. Then I'm on to Jadon Sancho. I'm going to put Sancho into D. Very minimal impact for Aston Villa this season, hasn't contributed a lot. Then I'm on to Leon Bailey, a January signing from Aston Villa. Hasn't done a lot this season. I'm going to put Leon Bailey into E. Then I've got Tammy Abraham, another January signing, but once again, his impact's been very minimal, but I'm going to put Abraham in D. He's had the odd good moment for Villa so far, and he's a decent option to bring on if Watkins is struggling. And finally, I've got Ollie Watkins, and I think this is the hardest player to judge. And the reason why is because Watkins was poor for probably 70% of the season, but he's really turned up in the last 30, and he's actually delivered 21 goals for Aston Villa this season. So I'm really struggling where to put Ollie Watkins. I'm going to put Watkins in a low B. I was very tempted by C, but I think he has to go into B because of the goals that he's contributed for Villa late on in the season. Please let me know your thoughts on that Ollie Watkins rating. Where would you put him? I wouldn't put him anywhere near A, because only a couple of months ago, a lot of Aston Villa fans were fuming with Ollie Watkins, and understandably so. So then I'm on to the final rating, and it isn't a player, it's the manager Unai Emery, and straight into A does Unai Emery go. What a job Emery's done for Villa this season, winning the Europa League and finishing in the top 4 in the Premier League. It's really been magical from Emery. And you know what's so good about the job Emery's done is, first of all, the players that he's improved this season got the best out of. He's got the best out of players like Cash, Digne, and Emi Buendia, players that I thought were nowhere near good enough to start for Aston Villa, but they've proven to be very good players for them this season. And for me, what's even more impressive, he still managed to achieve all his goals this season, Unai Emery, despite Villa having a terrible transfer window in the summer, but also in January. January wasn't that much better, bringing in Abraham and Luiz and recalling Leon Bailey. But the summer was even worse, bringing in players like Gesson, who was nowhere near good enough for Aston Villa. Players like Jadon Sancho, who would have you never expected to be able to start for Villa week in, week out. Despite this, Villa brought him in on loan. Harvey Elliott, who he couldn't even use this season. And Bogard, who's just an alright player. The only good sign they made was actually Victor Lindelof, that Unai Emery's found a way to get the best out of. So that is the end of this video. Please let me know your thoughts on this. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? And if you enjoy this video, it'd be great if you could subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video.